Okay, so I'm halfway done with volume 10 of the Husky and His White Cat. Spoiler talk time. I might as well show you. That's not a lot of annotating. I actually didn't annotate a lot in the first couple of pages. I was angry a lot throughout this, but we finally kind of get Shimei's backstory, and holy shit. It's no wonder you're messed up in the head, bro. His dad's a piece of shit. His dad is a piece of shit. Shimei is part demon, part god descendant. No matter, like, maybe like 1/16 of his blood is either one, but still it counts. Because in this universe, both gods and demons and cultivators follow the 1 drop of blood rule, okay? The 1 little % of blood of you being related, distantly related to whichever side. They treat you horrible. They treat you horrible. The cultivators, if you have even just a slight bit of demon blood in you, treat you like cattle to be slaughtered, okay? They have programs to keep the demons around, okay? I don't want to say what it is because I feel like that might be a bit too much. But yeah, I feel like if you were born a woman as a demon, you were better off probably being dead. It's disgusting what they did to them. It really is. And if you were born a male demon, you would straight up just be turned into medicine. I think, you know, Shimei's mom burning down that building was deserved. And if any cultivators were stuck in that building and they died, deserved. They deserve to die. They deserve to die. Like, a lot of people in this book deserve to die, okay? Like, society and humanity gotta deserve it just a little bit. Shimei's dad, I wish he died a horrible death. That man. I feel bad for his mom. She was not kind because of how she was raised in captivity and her setting the place on fire after saving her fellow demon girls. But she really thought that if she took over the wife of, you know, the divine pavilion sect, that she could maybe make her husband feel sympathy towards the demons. Really, that was a stupid plan. That was a very stupid plan. But she was a good mother. She was a really good mother. This is Shimei, his mom, and his half older sister. She was a really good mom. She was. Because at the end of the day, she was distantly descended from the demons. She wasn't 100%. Not really. Because they had other cultivator men come to help produce more demons. And they even made the process faster by turning 9 months into 4 months so that they can continuously pop out more demons so that they can turn them into medicine. That part of the book honestly disgusted me. Wholeheartedly disgusted me. However, it does not justify Shimei thinking that he was in the right to destroy humanity. Because, yeah, not everybody agreed with the methods. Only those that were greedy for power gave a fuck about that. None of the people in this book really deserve anything. Like I said, I think I would only be happy if Phoenix, Chuaneng, Moron, if he was still fucking alive, like legitly, and Mulan and the twins and part of Shenzhen Peak survived. And like some of the people that actually came and helped later on, but majority of the cultivators should shut the fuck up. If Shimei had picked those cultivators wholeheartedly, I might dislike him less, but he's still an awful piece of shit. Because at the point of this, like, beginning of the book, he only needs 30 more souls to complete the bridge to get to the demon door. Here's how I know this was a cycle of just corruption. Because one person from that clan decided to turn against the demons and side with the gods. Their entire clan was punished and kicked out of the demon realm. And left only one door. Okay? The original king, like, demon lord that was pissed off at, you know, the original creator of all the weapons and shit, he died. It's been that long. It's been that long that a demon actually died. So it's been a good long time. And he never wanted to give them a way in. So his son took control of the throne after his father died. And he said, you know what? For the butterfly beauty feast, there's going to be a way. You need to build a bridge and, you know, open the door. Because you need to do those 3 forbidden techniques that your relative made to disown him. And the only way you can technically make the bridge is if you have enough souls who willingly sacrifice themselves to become stepping stools. Now making them into like chess pieces, but they literally have no free will. Does that technically count as freely giving themselves up? 'Cause I feel like that's a loophole. That's definitely not free will. It's like, whatever, they're demons. They don't really care about rules, right? They plotted all of this to go home because, yeah, cultivators have treated them horrible. They've never treated them like people. However, Chu Wenning was not one of those people. Even though Shimei had a little bit no, Shimei totally had a mental breakdown. Okay, Shimei had gone crazy at this point to that his sister was even like, okay, I think you need to calm down. I think there's a little much. There is a reason why his sister, who is descended from the gods, like 100%, because she's only the half sister because they only share a father, and that comes into play later. Her life is just terrible. Her mother, I don't know what was wrong with her mom, Lady Lin, but the one time that she wanted a hug from her birth mother, she took a picture of her hands and started stabbing. And then her mom took the scissors to her like neck. And I'm just like, okay, wow, girly. So yeah, kind of ironic that the only demon in this entire book showed that she cared about her kids, because once her husband found out what she was, Shimei saw his dad kill their mother after he took a good chunk from her arms and her legs. And he killed her in like a really terrible way as she was screaming for him to run. And run that he did. And that's when he ended up in Shinjin Peak and all that stuff. He didn't know that his mom had plotted all of this giant destruction of the world. Okay. By the way, some of the gods were defeated in this entire war the first time around, and they're used as decorative for the doors. They're very pretty. But that answered my question where the gods were. The gods pissed me off. The gods pissed me off for a reason. We're going to get to that later. Yeah. Shimei had a very fucked up childhood. Okay. His dad was never caring. His dad had a weird belief that thou shalt not lust. And I don't think he knows what that means, because he equated lust and love to be the same thing. Where in reality, if you actually look up the definition, they are not the same thing. Like, he gave his daughter a birthday present of little clay figurines. And he asked her, do you like them? She said, oh yes, I love them. They're so pretty. After hearing that, he took the dolls and destroyed them and said, I taught you a lesson for your birthday. You should never covet anything. Which, you know, comes in handy later on when she sacrificed herself for her brother and like all the demon kind, because to her, demons have shown her kindness where humanity has never really once shown her anything. And especially the gods, because she's like, so I can never love, I can never crave anything. And I had to be heartless because I'm descended from the gods, even if it's like 1/18 blood descendant from the gods. So her final words in this entire situation was, don't covet my ass. Like, she was pissed off. She's like, you, I'm sacrificing myself for my sibling because they deserve to go home. Did I find it funny that she was begging Chu Wenning later when they were fighting to like let Shimei get away and stuff like that? Yeah, because I honestly would have offed her. Like, I would not hesitate. Chu Wenning still hesitates just a little bit. At one point, Chu Wenning kind of goes cold-hearted. Yeah, Chu Wenning goes cold-hearted in this book because he does blame himself for Moron dying. You know, he does. And of course, Shimei's like, well, Moron did all this himself. He's a terrible person. He would have destroyed that other sect because he's mad because, you know, they destroyed his mother. And we see evidently that he wouldn't if he had the choice, because in the other world, knowing everything that he did at that point, okay, he still didn't choose revenge. He chose to be good because this boy wanted to be good since day one. What was his punishment? Nothing other than being fucking born and having a shit ton of magical powers because of his magical core. That is it. So I do find it funny that later on, when Shimei is denied going home, okay, he just watched his sister sacrifice herself, okay, and he knows that Chu Wenning is out there and ready to kick him because he made Chu Wenning go through so much, like killing the person that he loved, because yes, Chu Wenning decided that the only way to sacrifice his entire, like, fix the situation, even though this world is like completely destroyed and the other world is still like barely hanging on, is to destroy the corpse. So at his last ditch effort, he destroys the Emperor, or at least he tried, because Moron's soul is still very much, I don't want to die. So, okay, honey, you've been wanting to die since you're fucking 12 years old, and all of a sudden you don't want to die because of Chu Wenning. Okay, great, lovely. We're gonna talk about that later. Shimei gets the door open after his sister sacrificed herself because, hey, you made a god sacrifice themselves for the demons. We hate gods, so we're gonna deny the next 29 lives that you need to make this door happen. And they're like, oh my god, finally we get to go home. Shimei is the first person to walk in, and this is where I knew that it was never gonna be easy. This whole ritual of opening the demon door to me felt more like a humiliation ritual, in all honesty. The demon lord just wanted to see how far you guys would go to lick his boot, because he gave you a task and you did it without thinking twice. Okay, remember, Shimei's dad is a descendant of the gods, and both the demon lord and the gods cursed anyone who would ever intermingle with god or demon. So if you genuinely fell in love with each other and had a kid like Shimei, you would die. The god would die. The demon would survive, but you would never have a spouse, because Shimei's mom was fine. Shimei's dad, however, was slowly dying of this curse, which is why the deities went to him and said, like, hey, your wife's a demon. This is her fault. Go fuck her up. And he did. Yeah, the deities went to Shimei's dad and told them the truth, that Shimei's mom was hiding all these years. And he did all that. He locked the door and everything. It was horrific. Thankfully, we didn't see an image of that. Yeah. So the second they find out that Shimei is descended from the gods, even again, just slightly, because they are distantly related to the freaking gods. So he's very distantly related to the gods. Again, they follow the 1% rule. They did not care. They called him a traitor. And Shimei is confused. He's like, I never once did anything for the gods. I never once took the gods' side. I killed so many people to be here, and I want to save my clan. How is this fair? Right. How is it fair that you simply being born led to the demise? How is it fair that you're being judged for something that you had no control over? How is it fair? I believe Moron has something to say about that. Just saying. And the reason why I brought this part up is because these damn cultivators, I swear, they are so freaking annoying. Also, just to show you how much I've written in this book, so much of it. So on page 78, this is when the army is going to the other world to defeat the emperor and Shimei and all that stuff, okay? This is what the army has to think. Some of them, because Phoenix is in this army. Even now, there were those who insisted Mo Songshi had been lying, that they had done nothing wrong in condemning him. Some of them had made eloquent or scathing speeches against him at Taiyin Pavilion. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Some had thrown stones and rotten vegetables during those 3 days of public trial and ridiculed him from the crowd. Admitting Mo Songshi was right was tantamount to admitting that they had been tricked, manipulated into slandering a good man's name. The thought was too much embarrassing. Admitting fault often took more courage than committing the fault in the first place. None of them were brave enough. Better to never allow Moron's name to be clear than to abandon their veneer of righteousness. No matter how much suffering or scorn Moron endured, no matter how many accusations he bore, regardless of the 2 lifetimes he spent in agony, he would stay a sinner. To these so-called gentlemen, another's innocence would always be subordinate to their own pride. And throughout the first half of this book, when they're fighting and trying to stop the apocalypse, they are still fucking whining and complaining. They still don't want to sacrifice their life. They just rather give up. They want to give up. And it's just a few people who want to fight. It's fucking ridiculous. And at this point, I'm just like, a lot of you deserve to die. Okay? Some of them even like, well, where's Mulan? Why isn't she here in the army? And then, like, Jiangxi, Phoenix's birth dad, has to turn to this other cultivator woman and say, like, she is stationed to guard all the civilian commoners. Just her. So, what are you doing? Yeah. Because they rather just insult other people and say, well, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. When you fuckers barely do shit. Because all you value is yourself. Most of them know Moron is fucking right because hello, world-ending situation that he told you about. But no, still, they say that he's wrong. Hell, when he actually is not being the evil emperor, because I might as well say this, Shimei said, fuck the demon rules. We are going home. And they finally have their core finally actually how it's supposed to be because they feed off a like demon chi, which they finally have access to because the gate is open. They have enough power to keep most of the bridge intact because the bridge started falling apart once it was found out that Shimei was part like god. And they defeat the skeleton guard old man and just start rushing to the door because the doors start to close because they're closing the door. Shimei puts himself in between the door and holds it as much as he can. And we all know Shimei has been physically weak since day one because of how he was born. He waits until the last one is through and he lets out a laugh. Because he did it. He fulfilled his mom's wish of everyone going home. But the door is finally on his body. Half in the demon world and half in the mortal world. Note that when this whole situation happened, the gods decided, you mortals have fucked up. We are going to punish you. Apocalyptic water floods. Like 40 days and 40 nights situation. Which I think is ironic, seeing as you motherfuckers have seen this situation happen for 2 lifetimes. And you're punishing the mortals? Because they don't care. They don't care. Even though some of those gods use the demons as pill medicine to ascend to godhood. It's mentioned in the book that some of them use those pills to ascend. Alright? Fucking irony, isn't it? So even when the older Phoenix and older twins arrive to help in this situation, they have like this turtle shell thing to plug up the gate where the worlds intertwine. They're like, hey, we need a lot of spiritual energy to help keep this like from cracking so that the apocalyptic waves don't crash into us. Note that now that Shimei is dead, his control over Moron's corpse is gone. Alright? So we got Emperor Moron for a reason, because he still refers to himself as this vulnerable one. But he cares about winning and cares about saving people's lives. But he's also extremely aggressive. Like, no more polite Moron. No. He's like, get your asses over here and help us with this damn fucking shield. Some of the cultivators didn't want to help because they just gave up. They're like, oh my god, we're all gonna die, we're gonna die. And it's just like, shut the f up. They have a plan. You guys are pathetic. You're cowards. And you know what kicked them into gear? Mulan came with commoners and like that Butterfly Island lady, you know, the one that was kicked out of the rich sect because she was a woman and not strong enough because they all were misogynist pigs. She and her people came to help them. And Mulan even said like, you're pathetic. You're all pathetic. You don't even want to help. You don't deserve shit. I was like, damn straight Mulan. Damn again straight. You are one of the few people I hope do not die. I'm still halfway through this book. Like, I'm hoping. So they do all that. And like, they're trying to fix the rift and control the water at the same time. That's why they need different types of people. Phoenix's bio dad is trying to help and no one really technically listened to him, even though he criticized them because he is from the medicine like sects and they don't really have strong defense. So when like Emperor Moron and Chuaning met up with everybody else, of course they were still close. So that's the monster. And it's like, no, he's the one who's going to help us. He has a lot of magical abilities. We're saved. Literally, that's the only reason that turned them like onto Moron's side, is because they know that Chuaning and Moron are like the strongest cultivators in this fucking world. So now that they're here, they're like, oh my god, he made the reverse Signia thing, so he can actually make this go faster. So we're all saved. We're all saved. Yay! But like Emperor Moron's like, I can't believe you made the medic sect come here to defend this shield when you know they have the weakest magic for defense. Get your fucking asses over here! And they did. They rushed, and then all of a sudden everything was fine, and they started closing the gate and everything. And that's usually where I left off. The next chapter is Moron never left. So I'm actually kind of excited. But also, he's in the body of a corpse. There's no way that they could bring him back again. But also, I want all of them to atone to him and beg for his forgiveness. Because all those cultivators pissed me the fuck off. Like, when some of them were being kidnapped to turn the puzzle pieces to be like into the bridge, and they were begging for mercy, they had the nerve to beg for mercy. I was like, you deserved it. You deserved it. That's what you get. Again, my morals are nowhere near as good as Chuaning's, okay? Because he felt sympathy. Because I finally found out why Shimei had a crush on Chuaning. Because he asked Chuaning once what he thought of the butterfly demons. Like, did he consider them people? Without hesitating even a beat. He said, they're people. They're human. They are people. Because you know, the medical sect published their little project on how to make more demons. And when Chuaning read that, he was disgusted. Rightfully so. And that's when Shimei felt something for the first time, because he finally met someone who didn't think the demons were just animals. He met someone who could possibly care. He just went about it the whole wrong way, but like, hey, they all need therapy. They all need therapy. But honestly, I just feel like if the demon lord never kicked out the butterfly tribe into the human realm, none of this would have happened. And at least maybe Moron and Chuaning would have had a decent normal life together. Sure, hell still would have happened to them, because all the awful things that happened to Moron and Chuaning, besides the demon thing, would still have affected them. But I really feel like if the demon lord didn't kick those out, none of this would have happened. I do feel bad for them, and I hope that the entire cultivator realm begs for forgiveness. I would still slaughter them. Let's be honest, I would slaughter them. I am not a good person when it comes to people who will sacrifice the innocents for their own virtue. I really don't. You can say you're good all you want, but your actions speak louder than your words. I don't know if I'll actually want to go slow, because action-packed, and I want to see them kiss Moron's feet and beg for forgiveness, because he saved your fucking lives, even though he died. Again! Morons! All of you, cultivating, you know, all the cultivator realms should, like, they all need to be disbanded completely, alright? The only ones I trust are Phoenix Biodad for like a little bit, Chuaning, Zombie Moron, and the twins. That's it. That's literally it. And Shin Pik, whatever's left of them. Everyone else can go themselves. Okay? Alright, so have a nice day. Alright, finish volume 10. Spoiler talk time. First things first. I've been deceived, lied to, and betrayed by some of the people who read this book in advance. You know, the fan translation? Because everyone was like, when I asked, is there a happy ending? Everyone always just said like, define happy. And I was like, Moron and Chuaning being alive. They're like, sure. Yeah, that's what your definition of happy ending is? And yeah, definitely. Everyone who told me about what to prepare for this book made me think that it was going to be like a non-happy ending. They had their happy ending. Moron, surprisingly, is alive now. Why? We'll get into that. After fixing the entire rift and everything, Chuaning was going to basically die with Moron, because that's what he thought was going to happen. And he was totally ready to just end it all, because he was like, I'm tired, you know, I just want to be with Moron. It's been 2 lifetimes. We can't do this anymore. And we saw the older twins and Phoenix basically also throw themselves into the water, because yeah, the other ones were like, no, you should, you know, come to our world and stuff like that. But they're like, well, there can't be 2 versions of all of us. So just imagine 4 of those twins. Oh God. So older Phoenix, after finally, you know, seeing Chuaning and all that stuff, went in peace and rested. So see, that's the sort of stuff I thought was going to happen. I was pleasantly surprised. Moron saved Chuaning, tossed him back into the other dimension to save him. And just the line that he said to Chuaning during that. The last thing he told Chuaning was, I'll be waiting in another world. And I was like, God, please, no, we're not doing a third like redemption thing. That is too much. And I was like, someone needs to give them what they deserve because of all the sacrifice and pain they went through. I technically was right that they do get that later on. But the mega twist that I didn't even see coming was that, surprise, Moron is a demon. He is a butterfly beauty bone feast. Like a special kind, because his kind doesn't bleed or like cry golden tears. That's how they hide so well. And if they don't know that they are demons, then their demon-esque abilities don't show up, which I would never have assumed was what he was. like at all. But that explains why he was so powerful and stuff like that. But see, this thing is the reason why Shime essentially got fucked over later on. So the demon lord brings back all the souls of Moron because of the type of demon that he is. And this is what I mean, like, if they don't let them rest in peace, that they'll try to use them. Because the demon lord at first was like, you have a lot of potential and your abilities could be very useful to the demon kind. And I was already like, Jesus, no, please no, just let the boy rest. Let the boy rest. Just stop trying to use him. Moron was like, okay, well, this is a surprise to me. But now all my souls are here. So I didn't go to the underworld, didn't go to hell. That's great. I would like to go back to the mortal world now. And the demon prince was like, I'm sorry, you want to go back to the mortal realm? Why? They're basically ants. They're stupid. They're useless. And Moron's like, because I promised someone that I would try to go back to them. And I would very much appreciate it if you just let me go. And then the demon lord the whole time is trying to like, but you have so much potential and power and you could live for centuries. Moron's like, no, I'm good. Because like, yeah, bro has lived 2 lifetimes. I think he's done with the whole like long life thing. He just wants to be with Chuening. And the demon lord calls him out on this. He's like, you would do all of this for a hunk of wood, because Chuening essentially was made from a very sacred piece of wood. So technically he's not a real boy, but like Pinocchio becomes a real boy sort of situation. That's how I thought of it, but like you can think of it as a different way. And Moron's basically like, yeah, I would really much like to go back to him, please. Poor Chuening. So Moron made this promise that I will return and I will meet you in another world, okay? He didn't know he was a demon, so he was basically just saying shit. And when they reunite, because the demon lord, I guess because Moron doesn't want to work with him or anything, he's just like, you know what, fine, go to the mortal world. Your kind have been trying to come back to the demon world this entire time, but like, okay. Mei had promised that he would never hurt anyone that was a demon. And he hurt Moron. The evil Shime was never going to be allowed back home. Ever. His other Shime version is still alive, still blind, but still trying to atone for all the sins that his evil side had did and that he went along with. So good for him, I guess. I don't really care about him. I never cared about Shime. I was happy when he finally got smushed into a pancake. That's what you get. That's what you get. So this is when the story kind of threw me off, because there's 11 books in this series, mostly because Seven Seas is a greedy son of a bitch of a company who likes to shorten out stuff. Because this, plot-wise, is only 268 pages. This book is about 335 pages long, with actual content before the glossary starts. So, color me surprised when I saw this. Yep. It's when Moron finally comes back together and Chuening sees him. And the next chapter is called The Grand Final. So I was honestly surprised that the book ends on book 10. But if you want bonus content, I guess you can read book 11. I already bought it, so thankfully I didn't pay $30 because 7 Seas pissed me off. I only paid $16, just letting y'all know that, because I already did buy pre-order book 11. But yeah, so Moron miraculously came back. All his souls are together in his body because Chuening, same as Moron did in the other timeline, preserved his body. Just because they all ride or die for each other. Let's be honest. During all that, everyone assumes that Chuening and Moron are just dead, which is something that they both kind of want. And Phoenix takes over as sect leader for Shizun Peak because, you know, he is the son. So he refuses to believe that Chuening and Moron are dead, because they have like these little memorial places, and he's still covered it up and is like, no, I know for a fact that they're not dead. They could not have left me alone, because he is completely so sad. Because then he finds out his bio dad had adopted a kid, because he was kind of trying later on. Phoenix was trying to get close to Zhangqing, and then he found out that he had like a disciple adopted son. And at that point, Phoenix was like, you know what, fuck bio dad, I don't care anymore. And that's the last we see of that relationship. But it's fine, because Phoenix becomes the sect leader, and Moron and Chuening do visit him during the night of his, I guess, ascension to the leader of the whole sect. And they give him a present. They fixed his sword and everything, and they left a letter. Moron wrote a longer letter than Chuening. Chuening just is never good with words, even if he writes them down. I think that's really good for Phoenix specifically, because he knows that they're out there still. They're not dead, but like they want their privacy at this point, because they're the heroes of the world, because people started telling them the actual truth, so that Moron's name is cleared. And then Chuening, no one knows that they're still like together, which is one of the main reasons why they avoid going back to Shizun Peak, is because the whole disciple and Shizun relationship is seen like frowned upon. So that's one of the main reasons why they just don't want to come back. But it's also mainly like they're tired and they would very much like to spend time with just each other, because they spent 2 lifetimes being ripped apart, and now they just don't really care anymore. So they live their lives and do whatever they want in a cottage in the mountains, which is adorable. Phoenix is not technically by himself. He still has the twins, who the 3 of them become really good friends, because obviously in the other timeline, the 3 of them were basically really close friends. So he still has the twins. And later on, Phoenix adopts or takes under his wing his own little disciple. And his little disciple hears about Chuening and Moron, and he asks about them. Like, this is like years later down the line. We don't get to see it. I really wish we did get to see it. Maybe in book 11 we get to see this meeting. Because during one of the autumn like meetings, Phoenix is going to go visit Chuening and Moron because like he's one of the very, very, very small few people who know where they live. And it's really cute how his disciples like, well, I want to know about them and stuff like that. And Phoenix was like, you'll meet them, but just know we can't stay until midnight. And his disciples like, why can't we do that? And that's when you find out. And this is sort of like a Yu-Gi-Oh situation because there's two different personalities in one body. So I think for like 3 days out of the week or something, the Emperor Moron takes over the good Moron's body at midnight. And like, he's not doing anything evil. He's still the haughty toddy personality of this vulnerable one and stuff like that. Because we find this out when they're in the town, like at the foot of the mountain of Shizun Peak. And for some reason, there's a rumor going around that Moron has a sweet tooth and that Chuening likes burnt, crispy food, which is nowhere near the truth. Moron likes normal food and Chuening is the one with the sweet tooth. But for some reason, they have a hero combo in this restaurant where it's like, oh yeah, these are our hero's favorite dishes. And I'm just like, who said this lie? Who's lying about this shit? All right, Chuening likes sweet, bland food. Moron just likes regular food. He's not really a spicy food eater. But I digress. But yeah, midnight hits, Chuening freaks out a little bit, and then sweet Moron gets replaced with Emperor Moron, and he's still the same. He's still the same. He's like, how dare you try to feed me this and all that stuff? And Chuening's like, okay, we need to go. We need to go. This is why we don't go out. This is why we don't go out. So that's one of the other reasons why they are not around other people, just because Moron becomes the Emperor. Because the souls just didn't merge. The Demon Lord probably was petty as fuck and did that on purpose. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna toss all the souls into one body. So it is sort of like a Yu-Gi-Oh situation if you watch like two souls in one body and one just takes over at certain points and stuff like that, but they're technically two distinct personalities. So that's a weird thing. The end of this book does include smut between Chuening and Moron, just to let you know. You find out things. The Moron and Emperor have different techniques and all that stuff. So if you're not comfortable with that, you might as well just skip the last chapter. Not really the last chapter, but like the epilogue. Because their relationship is really cute because even though that they clearly love each other because they've said that they love each other, they're still like kind of the same. Like nothing in the relationship has really changed other than they're more kind of open with affection. Knowing that Phoenix and his little disciple are coming to visit them, Chuening wants to cook. Poor Moron is like, don't do that. How about we have a competition? This is his way of tricking Chuening into not cooking. And see which dishes are best. Because he's like, I need to have something that my cousin can eat. Because I don't want him to die from the food. This is how you find out that Chuening uses his like magical tree stuff more. Because he's cheating during this. This is like, I love how it went from dramatic to like cuteness at the end of this. But he called upon like these fairies and sprites and stuff to cook the meals for him. And he's trying to be very secretive of it because he's technically cheating. He knows what he's cheating, but he doesn't care. And I think Moron kind of knows that he's cheating a little bit. At the same time, he doesn't care. As long as the food is edible, that's fine. So that's basically like the entire end of the book. We end with Chuening and Moron living their lives, Chuening cheating at a cooking competition that he made himself in his mind and using sprites. Now, the last actual bit of this book is a bonus story about a modern AU. It's not really modern in my mind because like they still talk about demons and cultivators and all that stuff, but it's like more high tech. But it's a silly story. But it comes into play with this entire situation where I said that the gods owe Chuening and Moron for all the bullshit that they put them through. Because in this story, everyone knows that Moron is gay and that he's a demon, a very specific type of demon, and he would make very powerful children, and they need more soldiers. So Phoenix and Moron in this dimension don't really know each other. They know of each other, mostly just, you know, Phoenix knows of Moron. Let me read you the conversation him and Zhengqing have. When I was reading this, I was literally going like, what am I reading? So on page 280, this is between Zhengqing and Phoenix, and they're having a conversation because they need Moron to reproduce, and this is Phoenix's response to that. You need that guy to have kids. Precisely. Phoenix lips curled in a sneer, but he's gay. Super gay, clarified Zhengqing. They know he's gay, so they come up with this simulation kind of thing, which is sort of like a dating sim, but not a dating sim. That's what they're trying to say. Phoenix is calling it a dating sim, but like Zhengqing's like, it's not a dating sim. It's like, technically it kind of is, but not, because you have different love interests, right? They're trying to see if they can change Moron to not be gay by making him fall in love with a girl when he's younger. And by younger, I mean like the youngest they get is like 5 years old, so that he can have like a childhood crush and stuff like that. But every single route that they do, even though they follow the instructions of the guide, like Phoenix and the Dragon, Chuening always shows up. Chuening always shows up. And then their plan just throws out the window and it deviates to Moron and Chuening just ending up together. And there's so many routes. Like they've done this like to the whole time. And like the guide can actually fast forward you like 20 years. So from like Moron being 5 to like him being 20. And at the end, he's still with Chuening. To the point where I think Phoenix and the Dragon tried to actually make it so that Chuening and Moron never meet when they were young. But somehow, fate has always made Chuening and Moron meet Like, even when they finally got him on the path to actually have like a really close female friend, when Moron goes to like secretly ask her to go play, but he's scared of her parents, so he goes to the back and like throws little pebbles at her window. He misses, hits the window like next to hers, and guess who it is? Chuenning's. Phoenix and the dragon were just like, what do you mean? Yeah, because like no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you can never get in between Chuenning and Moron. And at the end of the book, it actually kind of explains it a little bit as to why. Their story would lead to the same ending. That was the compromise fate granted these insignificant beings who dared to reach for the skies. After all their hardship and suffering had passed, they would someday have a happily ever after with the one they loved. Those who loved deeply would always meet again. So no matter what world, no matter what people tried, no matter what you did, they would always be together. And I was like, finally, that is a true soulmate pairing right there. No matter what world, that gives me Clamp vibes, okay? The true soul pairings, no matter what world, in whatever situation, there's always gonna be those two that are always together. This is literally what they are. So again, the fact that people on Chong Feng Shu was saying like, oh my God, it's not gonna be as happy as yours, that is happy. That is a happy ending. I don't know what the hell you guys read, but in this translation, they're happy. I don't know what else happened, okay? But like, they're happy. I'm genuinely surprised because I had given up hope completely, but this makes me happy. Now, for book 11, am I mad that it has nothing to do with the plot? Kind of, yeah, a little bit. But if it's just more happy content, then you know what? That's fine by me. Although from the summary that I've read, apparently one of the stories is something to do with Phoenix's love life. Okay. I don't really care about Phoenix's love life at this point because bro literally has a single child by himself and he's perfectly fine being single. But the next one definitely has something to do with Chuenning's birthday. So I don't know. Oh wait, the Emperor and him are going to fight over the birthday. So at least the next one that you guys can look forward to is lighthearted. I do have 2 more dames that I have recently just purchased. So I've got to go through those. So there's probably going to be book talks about them later on. They're going to be more heavy and political. So here for the trauma, but they're shorter. They're shorter books. Thank God. Anyway, that's it. Until next time. Bye.